Starting recording. All right. Looks like we're good. You good? You see it on your end?
I sure do.
All right. So we'll give it a sec. And all right. Here we go. First try.
All right.
Out.
All right. Let's see how this thing goes. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Matter of Stats podcast. Colby and Anthony with you tonight. Billy has the night off. Colby, how you feeling?
Feeling good. Feeling good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Let's jump right into these headlines. First off, last week in the NFL, the Cleveland Browns, Colby, traded Baker Mayfield to your Carolina Panthers. Oh boy, there we go. In the NBA, Damian Lillard signed a 2-year extension worth $122 million to stay with the Blazers a little while longer. The Los Angeles Lakers are going to retire Pau Gasol's jersey this upcoming season, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
This week coming up is the MLB All-Star Extravaganza, and the All-Star game this year is at Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers have 4 representatives, and the Angels have 2, so good showing from our local clubs. In some very recent NBA news earlier today, the NBA Board of Governors approved the new transition take foul rule. So this is a rule that will now award teams 1 free throw shot and possession when they are fouled in the open court to eliminate those, breakaway transition fouls where they would stop a fast break and take the ball out of bounds. Now you get free throw and keep the ball. And in our own news, the Matter of Stats podcast has their own YouTube channel. So you can check that out starting today.
Yeah. So obviously, in case you guys didn't notice, we are now doing video pods. So we're on video right now. We're still gonna every day, every time we do the pod, still have an audio version for the Spotify and for iTunes and all that. But from time to time, we'll do a video pod here and there, especially probably when we have guests on. That'll be cool, to have them on live video and stuff. So check us out. Like Anthony said, we have a YouTube page that you can go and subscribe to now. We'll post those links on Twitter, on IG, and all that good stuff, so you guys can come through, check out the videos, and subscribe. So yeah, we're excited about that. Oh, one more thing too. Since we're on video, let me just take a sip here of my iced tea out of my Matter of Stats podcast mug. There you go.
The shameless plug.
Yeah.
Of the swag.
That's right. But Anthony, you touched on it a little bit about the take foul. I don't know if you wanted to quickly elaborate a little bit on how that rule changes, the game and what it was before, what it is now. I'm sure the listeners and the viewers want to kind of get a little bit more info since that's hot off the press. That just came down 20, 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, you're right. That's brand new as of today. So if you recall in the past, there in a transition breakaway, sometimes it would be a turnover or something, and teams would take that what they call the take foul. They'd just wrap a guy up or slap somebody in the arm really quick to stop a potential 2-on-1 or 3-on-2 fast break or something. And so I think kind of in the spirit of the game and to keep the game flowing a little bit, they put this rule on the docket and voted in favor of it today. So now, instead of just taking that foul and the team takes it out of bounds and nothing happens, so to speak, now you get a real penalty where they get a free throw and awarded possession. So before they would just retain possession and you'd move on. Now you get an extra point potentially plus retain possession. So hopefully it will eliminate that and incorporate a little more positive spirit of the game, because that's not really the intention of the game, to stop a fast break or stop a turnover.
Yeah. Probably deter those defenders a little bit from obviously taking that foul. So it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. So
yeah,
cool. Anything else? Anything we want to touch on from headlines? How do you think? I'm just curious. I'm the panel and everything. But how do you think Baker's going to do over in Carolina? I mean, I've always been a guy that even in basketball, where sometimes a change of scenery is good for players. And obviously Baker hasn't really lived up to his full potential yet, but maybe that could help him out. What do you think?
Well, it was clear that he was going to be traded out of Cleveland because they went and they made the big trade, to get Deshaun Watson. Now Watson's going to suffer some kind of suspension. We don't know what. It could be 3 games, could be 6 games, 8 games. Nobody really knows. It's just speculation at this point. But it made sense. They weren't going to hang on to him. They made their deal. They were done with him. Obviously, I don't think he wanted to stay there anymore. It didn't seem like there was a lot of takers for him, so they ended up, kind of selling low on him. What I had heard was that he's not going into Carolina to be the starter. He's going to have the potential to compete with Sam Darnold, for that starting position. But I don't think the expectation is that he's going in with as the starter, but he'll have an opportunity to compete. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. You're right. Sometimes a change of scenery is good in any sport, and Baker, I think, sure needed it because the last couple seasons in Cleveland were not great for him. Yeah. So maybe it will work out.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see what happens. You want to talk anything? So we talked a little basketball, a little football. How about some Angels? Angels. How about some Dodgers and Angels? You want to?
Yeah, no. I mean, it's cool that the All-Star game is here at Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers have a couple starters in the game in Mookie Betts and Trey Turner. They have a couple of pitchers in the game. Clayton Kershaw, of course, made it, and Tony Gonsolin, who is having a phenomenal year, actually leads the league in wins, leads the league in ERA. So he was well deserving. The Angels, of course, have Trout and Ohtani. I mean, those are kind of no-brainer picks. They're both, in the starting lineup. There's some speculation on who will get to start the game from the pitcher standpoint. I know a lot of fans want to see Kershaw and Ohtani both start that game. I think you could make a case for Gonsolin, certainly, because he is leading the league in a couple of key areas. But I think most of the fans want to see Ohtani and Kershaw, go head-to-head as starting pitchers, especially because it's here at Dodger Stadium, close to the Angels, of course. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. That game is next Tuesday.
Nice. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a fun one. So
yeah, but should be.
Yeah, let's jump into some Lakers and NBA headlines. Or not headlines, but just topics.
Yeah, we wanted to get your take. Obviously we're thick in summer league right here. It goes to the end of this week, so there's been a lot of good summer league action. The Lakers, have played a total of 5 games so far, and just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on what you've seen so far from the Lakers summer league. From some of the young rookies, some of the young guys on the team. And then, of course, we're going to talk a little Kyrie, but let's talk what we can control for right now. Our own actual players.
A little Kyrie. I like that. Yeah, I mean, the team got off to a hot start in the California Classic. We thought, that youngin' team right there was going to win the NBA Finals this year. They started out 2-0. We're like, yeah, man, we got this. But we haven't won a game since. We're getting slapped around in Vegas, which just like in life, you might be hot in your own state. You go to Vegas will test those pockets. So
beat the house.
Yeah, I can't beat the house. So it's been tough, but obviously we've liked what we've seen from a couple guys, particularly Scottie Pippen Jr., Swider. The thing I like about Scottie Pippen, he just seems a little bit more well-rounded to me. He does, a little bit of everything. He plays with so much poise and confidence. He can do it all. His passing is impeccable. I love it. Like, there's just been a few passes that I've seen from him that I didn't even see coming, and I'm like, wow, like, obviously Swider is on fire. Was he like 54% from 3 or something through 5 games or something? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's been awesome to see. Even we were talking about it the other day with Sharif O'Neal. He's a versatile big man. He doesn't really fit the mold of a throwback big man. He can handle the ball, take it to the hoop, all that good stuff. So yeah. I like what I've seen. Obviously probably didn't look like we're gonna get one of those first inaugural summer league championship rings. Possibly, hopefully we do. But it's been a rough couple games here. But what do you think? What's been your take?
Well, yeah, hopefully this is the only ring that we don't win. Hopefully we have a chance to win the real one in June. But yeah, it doesn't look like we're going to get the July one here. But yeah, I agree. We talked last week too about Pippen and Swider and even Christie. Yeah, I've been impressed with Pippen. He definitely came into this situation as a very ready NBA ready player. There was no doubt that he could score. His passing has impressed me too. I've also been impressed with his ability to get to the rim.
Yeah.
Because he's not small, but he's not big. He's 6'3", but it seems like he can get to the rim almost anytime he wants, and he's really good at creating contact.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's a good free throw shooter, that's obviously a win-win.
Yeah.
So I've been impressed. Like you said, I've been impressed with his passing, but his ability to get to the rim was something that I've been impressed with. Swider, I said this last week. I mean, I think he's as advertised. He himself, in some of his pre-workout tapes, said that he's the best shooter in this draft, and he might be. He wasn't even drafted, but I mean, he might be the best, the best shooter of this whole rookie class. Like you said, he's shooting above 50%. I think he's like 17 for 30 in 5 games, which those are like Steph Clay-like numbers. Those are crazy numbers.
Yeah.
I think that he will obviously have to work on his defense and some of those type of things, but offensively, he looks like a clean shooter on the catch, on the dribble, on the curl. And we talked about this, you and I, the other day about Christie. Obviously, he's still very raw. He's only 19, so the offense isn't there yet, but you can see the fundamentals of a really good player. His length, his shot release extension is really good. He looks like he's got a clean shot that he can get off whenever he wants. He's got the ability to get to the rim with that athleticism. But defensively, he seems pretty savvy for a 19-year-old kid. Not just reading the defense, but his reaction time, his recovery. I've seen 2 or 3 times where he kind of, went the wrong way and got beat, but was able to recover and either make a block or get back in position to stop a potential basket or layup. So I've been really impressed with, he looks like a little mini Swiss Army knife out there, and I think the offense will come, but I think he'll be really nice, and I think he's kind of showing what the Lakers, maybe saw in him in moving up and buying the pick to get him when there were, because you would think why wouldn't you just take Swider or Pippen or one of those guys with that pick? So I think the Lakers knew that maybe this is a diamond in the rough kind of guy that, a year or 2 from now you're not going to get, but let's get him right now and, sit on him and maybe he'll be a find. So so I've been impressed with all those, and I like Sharif. I mean, he's like you said. I think if he plays with a little more athleticism, he's clearly not his dad. He's not a big, tank down there, but he's fun to watch.
Yeah, something too that'll be interesting to watch, especially for you, Anthony, because I know how easily irritated and frustrated you might get when maybe a player doesn't live up to his expectations, or God forbid he has a bad game, but I think one of the articles that I was reading a couple of days ago was that Swider last season in college, I'm pretty sure that this is accurate from what I read, but I believe he started he went 3 for 25 from 3 to start the season. But ended up finishing I think 40% from 3 on the season, and his whole thing was talking about resilience and making sure he has that in his game. So I can see Swider starting off slow or maybe struggling at times, and you being let's put him in the trade machine out the gate, but as time goes on, can clearly, bring those numbers back up. So it'll be something to watch, something interesting to see, because obviously he's shooting lights out right now. He's, the best shooter in the league, period, 54%, through 5 games. And I'm sure you're going to expect that at all times, being the diehard Laker fan you are. I see the Wheaties back there. I see the Wheaties on, in your collection.
Yeah.
Lakers.
Well, you're right. But I think that's the nice thing about having these guys on the 2-way contracts is they're not going to be part of the 15-man roster. They're going to get their moments. Guys will be hurt or take nights off, and they're going to get their opportunities to play here or there, I think. But there's no pressure on Swider to be part of the rotation unless we want him to be, or unless something catastrophic happens and somebody's out for the year or whatever, and he's got to step up. So
yeah, well,
I think that's the nice thing.
Austin Reeves was in that position last season, and look what happened. So.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and the Lakers, and that was an interesting move at the time because we could have kept him on the 2-way, but we chose to sign him to an actual, non-guaranteed contract to put him on the 15-man roster. So we could choose to do that, obviously, with Pippen or Swider at some point if it merits it or if we need to do it. But for now, I think, don't rush it if you don't have to.
You mean if the team is shooting like 15% around LeBron, like Swider, come in and save the day,
Well, hopefully we won't have to do that because, according to Rob, we're not done making deals here, right? So what's going to happen with Kyrie Irving?
Oh, that's the perfect segue into our next. So, I know that, I don't know if what, but, I know that I wanted to talk a little bit about Kyrie and what's maybe holding this deal up. So why don't you go into that?
Well, yeah, obviously it's really a drama. Really it is. Like every day you see somebody, whether it's Woj or Windhorse or Shams or, just anybody. There's so many people putting stuff out there, whether it's on TV or social media. And every day it's something new. It's something, a little twist here, a little twist there, a little jab here, a little jab there. And it's really hard what to make of it, right? You saw the reports yesterday, people that, from The Athletic that, this deal would be done if the Lakers would be willing to include 2 first-round picks, right? And who knows if that's true or not, right? And then you have the theory that people think like, it's going to happen. They're just waiting, till they figure out what's going to happen with KD first, and it's going to be like a domino effect to see what are the Suns going to do with Ayton and what's going to happen with Indiana's cap space, and like all this, like one domino is going to shift, everything into its place. So I don't know. And then there was a report from somebody in the New York Post earlier today that, alleged, this guy's reporting, I don't know if Kyrie actually said it or if this guy's just opinion in his report, that, Kyrie said that, he would potentially stay a net even if Durant got traded. So every day there's like something new, and a lot of it to me is all leverage, right? Because these things can't be coincidence that you have Kyrie show up at the Sparks game, right? And then you got LeBron showing up at Summer League, and Russ is on, one side of the peninsula all by himself. And here's LeBron yucking it up with all the coaches and the staff and all the young players. And there's Russ all by his little lonesome, and no one's paying him any attention. Then the next night, Kyrie shows up, and D-Fish is there chatting him up. And like it can't be coincidence that all these things happen. And then you get reports that, there's kind of a standstill because the Nets want this, and the Lakers don't want to do this. And then this report comes out, and then this report comes out. It just seems like everyone's trying to gain leverage here. And I just think at the end of the day, if Kyrie wants to be traded to the Lakers, there's no other team that really wants him. So there's nowhere else he's going to go. So either the Lakers and Nets are going to figure it out, or he's going to stay in net and play, or he's going to sit out the year and force their hand. But at the end of the day, if he wants to be a Laker, he'll be a Laker. And I still think that it's going to happen. I think that if it doesn't happen, you run the risk of 2 things. One, the way the roster is currently constructed right now, like you said, there's not enough shooting. So that's the beauty of Kyrie. It comes with its problems, no doubt. He comes with a whole set of problems, different than Russ's set of problems. But at least you get the scoring and the shooting, and then you're probably going to get another piece, right? You're going to get a Seth Curry or a Joe Harris, or even if the Pacers or the Spurs are involved, you're going to get a Buddy Hield, you're going to get a Richardson. All of these guys can shoot. So you're going to get 2 or 3 shooters at the end of the day when the deal goes down. That's going to help you, in addition to getting the star power of Kyrie. So I know that there's still lots of speculation that even if for some reason this Kyrie deal doesn't happen, the Lakers will do something and they'll move Russ to get Buddy Hield or Eric Gordon or something. So they'll move him to get some kind of shooting, which is fine, but that's not good enough to win the championship. Like if you turn Russ into, even if you turn him into, say, Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, just for the sake of argument, which to me doesn't make sense on a couple levels, because if you do that, like if the Lakers get Miles, what are you going to do with Miles Turner Anthony Davis, Damian Jones, and Thomas Bryant. What are you going to do with 4 bigs? Like, that doesn't make any sense. But let's just say, hypothetically, you get 2 potential good players in return for Russ. Does that improve the team? Yes. Does that make us better than, the 3 or 4 teams that can win a championship? No. You need a guy like Kyrie plus the shooting to give us a chance to win right now. And then you just run the whole set of, if this doesn't happen, what does that do to the image of the front office? Like, what does that say about Rob? Like, Rob is going to, fair or unfair, Rob is going to look like the guy that couldn't seal the deal when the package was delivered to him, wrapped in a pretty bow, and all you got to do is give them what they want and call it a day. And then there's the whole LeBron factor, right? What happens with LeBron? Does he sign the extension if Kyrie's not here? Is he pissed? Does he walk? And it's like we talked about last week with some of the moves, right? The guys we signed are nice, but they're young, potential guys that could be really good, could all be great shooters, could all be good defenders. We just don't know yet because they're all 22 years old. So it runs the whole gamut of what are we doing? Is the 2029 draft pick really more valuable than having Kyrie and LeBron for 2 years to win a chip? So it just, nothing fits right now perfectly, right? The roster's improved, but.
And I'll say this about the picks, everybody knows that we pretty much mortgaged our future when we went and got AD. So, yeah. and the Lakers have taken a little bit of flack for that, and maybe they don't want to make that mistake again, especially on a wild card like Kyrie, and I get that we're in win now mode and everything, but it is kind of true, like what they're saying, like there's really not a market out there for Kyrie. So the Lakers are kind of like the only ones that want him. So in the Lakers' mind, they're like, well, we shouldn't have to give you any extra picks if we're the only ones that want him. But then the Nets are like, well, we don't care. Then we'll just hang on to him until we get what we want. So right. We're really at this standstill. But I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny what you said the other day when you're like, oh my God, you're like, if Kyrie and LeBron show up to this Hornets Lakers Summer League game, the Twitter's gonna lose their mind. And then neither one freaking showed up. So you can't seem to call it. You don't have the greatest prediction. But you're right. They probably there was no way. I don't think they would have been able to be in the building together and not go up and dap each other up. They definitely wouldn't do the Russ and LeBron thing. So. Yeah. But yeah, you're right though. Rumors were going crazy just with Kyrie in the building. Period. all over Twitter. Mm-hmm. So just imagine if the two of them were there together. But in your world, I know you think they were out there hanging out at the blackjack tables and kicking it and stuff. So.
Well, I find it hard to believe that they were in Vegas for the whole weekend. Like they did, like they didn't say hi at least once, but.
Yeah.
I just think at the end of the day, like you said, yeah, it makes sense. But what are you going to do at the end of the day? Like, do we want Kyrie or not? Like, do we want to put a team out there that can win right now with 3 superstars and improve the shooting at the same time? Or I guess I just look at it like, are you really going to, is a draft pick 5 years from now? Actually, sorry, 7 years from now. Let's take the 2029, for example. Is a draft pick 7 years from now worth the potential of not winning a chip with LeBron for the next 2 seasons?
Well, as Laker fans, I know we probably all see it in a couple of different ways. It's like, let's say we give those picks away, right? And then we get Kyrie, and Kyrie does Kyrie things, and we end up imploding this year. Not only did we not win, but now our future is screwed as well. So it's hard to call, It's hard to call. But we did mortgage our future, and we went and got AD, and we won the chip, and that's cool and everything. But if back then we were to think that AD was going to come here and LeBron and AD were only going to win one chip, in 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is, I don't know that the Lakers would have really anticipated that.
Yeah, but I still would have done it. A championship is a championship. It's hard to get a championship. So if you're telling me that we trade for Kyrie, and him and LeBron and AD win one more chip in the next year or two, right? And then we're gonna struggle for a few years. I still think that's worth it in the end.
Well, yeah, I would say so too, because then now we're talking 2 championships, but what if this, group doesn't win again? And we gave up.
You're right. What if it doesn't? But
then
I think there's
80 trade, then worth it, I mean, it's borderline sometimes,
Yeah, but it's one thing that the AD trade was a little different because we gave up a couple of picks and a couple of swaps, but we also gave up 2 players that had value.
Yeah.
Real value. But not that Russ is garbage, but Russ is not the key to this. Russ is just the salary dump, essentially. The key to this is the picks. And just like we talked about this the other day, you could go back in any draft and go through the lottery, and half of them are busts or not even in the league anymore. So there's no guarantee that the pick is going to be good or bad. That's the thing. That's why, it's like a scratcher, right? I know you occasionally dabble in the scratchers.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes you pay that $5 or $10 and you win 20. Sometimes you win 0.
Pretty soon I may not have to do this pod no more. This might be my one and only pod I hit tonight.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. And a draft pick is the same thing. We don't know if it's going to be worth anything 7 years from now or not. And the chances are, I just look at it like, if we go get Kyrie and it doesn't work, then you just rebuild. And I think you can get a first round pick back some way, right? You'll be able to, like for example, let's just say Austin Reeves is still on this team. If it totally implodes and Kyrie and LeBron both decide to walk next season, right? Both free agents, they just said we're going to walk. You don't think Austin Reeves could get you that 2029 draft pick back? Of course he could. You don't think THT would, if he's still on his team? You could trade THT for a first round pick at some point. I'm just saying, I think there's ways that you can get picks back. Christie, we bought a second round pick. Christie looks like he's going to be a guy that is probably going to be a legitimate NBA player in a couple of years. That would have been a type of guy that you would have drafted with one of those first round picks. I just think there's ways, and the Lakers have never built through the draft. They've always built with stars and trades. So to me, I'd rather have the cap space. I'd rather go for it and try to win a chip, and then let LeBron ride off into the sunset, play with his kid in Cleveland or whatever, and then retire at 40. Let Kyrie do whatever Kyrie wants to do. Maybe he wants to stay, and him and AD can be a little duo for a couple of years. Or if not, we take all that cap space and we go, okay, who's going to be available in 2027? There's going to be guys that don't want to come here. Maybe at that point, Jason Tatum's like, you know what, I'm done with this Boston thing because, the fans here suck and we don't win. And he decides he wants to be a Laker 4 years from now. I'm just saying you never know. And now in the NBA, general managers have a lot of pressure to build a team that can win now. There's very few, like what Sam Presti does in Oklahoma City is a very unique situation to just constantly have cap space and a bunch of picks. Most franchises, you don't get that long of a leash. Like if you don't put a product on the court that's going to win, you're going to get fired.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that we could possibly get our picks back at some point, because that's kind of what the Nets are doing right now. They gave away all their picks to get all these superstars, and now they're trying to get them back. They want our first round back, and
they probably will. They probably will get it. I mean, think about it. If you trade Kyrie and KD, you're gonna net at least, no pun intended, you're gonna get back at least 3 to 5 picks between the two of them, at least.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I just think that you can navigate those things easier, but it's a lot harder to put a product on the court that can win tomorrow, overnight. And you're going to be able to take a team, like you said last week, some fans were saying this team might have to battle to be a play-in team.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to turn that instantly into a team that can legitimately win a championship, because they'll have 3 superstars, shooting, depth, and versatility, and youth and athleticism. And I still think that's what the Lakers had in mind, right? There's got to be some master plan here to way they're building this roster, because you signed the young athletic guys that can play D and maybe can shoot, but there's no clear shooting. You got to have clear shooting when you look at the landscape in the NBA, especially in the Western Conference. And we're going to make some kind of a deal. So I just think that everything was built around the idea that this was phase one. Now, what's phase two going to be? And I think if it's not Kyrie, it's going to be a huge, huge letdown to the fans, and it's going to be a mark on Pelinka that if you don't get Kyrie and you bring in Buddy Hield and Eric Gordon, whatever combination, and this team is cool, like they're the 5th seed, and then we lose in the second round, everyone's going to be like, man, you should have got Kyrie.
Well, if this is all the drama we got already and we don't even have Kyrie yet, can't wait to see.
Well, that's part of it. So anyway, but I think something will matriculate here soon because Summer League's going to come to an end, and then there's going to be like nothing happening for like a month until people, until you report to camp like end of September.
Yeah.
So these guys, Kyrie, KD, whatever, now there's reports maybe Donovan Mitchell might want out in Utah. Whatever happens, it's gonna happen in the next few weeks. These things are gonna, you're not gonna matriculate too long, because that's my fear. Like if the Nets drag their feet, what do the Lakers do? Do we call their bluff? Do we cave in, or do we wash our hands and use one of those picks and go get Buddy Hield? Now we don't have one. Now we don't have a big piece that the Nets want, because we took that first round pick, we gave it to Indiana, we dumped Russ, we got Buddy Hield. That's cool, but now we can't get Kyrie because we don't have the picks they want. Yeah. So that's the dynamic here that I think is really hard. It's like, how long do you wait before somebody gets cold feet or somebody says, forget it? And then if we do that, what's going to happen to LeBron? Like, if you don't get Kyrie, is LeBron going to be pissed and walk? Because there's no way that Pelinka is going to make a move like that without consulting LeBron.
Yeah. All right, moving on. All right,
we'll see what happens. Let's talk about some fun stuff here at Summer League. I know we've had a good time watching a bunch of these rookies and stuff play in the Summer League. In particular, some of your boy, Paolo, who just got shut down because we don't want him to get hurt. What have you seen so far in Summer League with some of these rookies that has impressed you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely Paolo, has been as advertised. I think it's funny that you say that he got shut down because, they don't want to see him get hurt, which, is probably the case. But kind of interesting that he got shut down the game right before he was about to play Chet. You see anything there? Is that something?
Maybe. I think that's just coincidence. But I guess if you want to stir something up.
I would have liked to have seen that, but yeah, he's looking really good. Got that made that huge pass, in that double overtime game to sudden death, which I thought was awesome. And I think I did see that he played in high school. His freshman year, he was a backup quarterback. So if you notice, he does him as well. He throws, dishes out some nice dimes. So that'll be something to look for too. He's another guy that, to me, just watching this game, very well-rounded player. So he can seemingly do it all. So I've definitely liked him. I know you liked Ivy. Chet has been good. Chet kind of looks like he's been up and down a little bit, but yeah, definitely like what we see from some of these other guys. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I think your boy Paolo, I mean, he looks like the real deal. Obviously, he can do it all offensively. Some other guys that have standed out to me, Keegan Murray in Sacramento. He looks like a pretty good young player. Obviously, you mentioned Jaden Ivey. I think he can flat out ball. I even saw, Hardy had a couple of nice Summer League games. That might end up being a steal for Dallas. Remember, they got him early in the second round. He fell all the way to the second round, and Dallas, swooped him up. So that might, end up being one of those steal picks that we look back on a couple years from now. Even some a little bit under the radar guys, Christian Coloco, who Toronto took in the second round. He looks like he could be a nice little sleeper big man, really athletic, can block shots, plays really good defense. So, I think I like those kind of picks. And I don't know. I think I was thinking this earlier too. When you look back on this draft, this might be one of those drafts that 3-4 years from now we talk about as like one of the deepest drafts in the last 10 years, because I think you might have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys that could end up being really good, not stars, but really good NBA players that were late picks or second round picks. So I think there's a lot of depth of talent in this draft.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of say that every year. Oh, this is the best draft of, in the last 10 years. Oh, it's the best draft since LeBron. This blah, blah, blah. But, you really don't know until, again, 5-10 years in. What about some second-year guys? How about our boy Mac McClung gets scooped up by the Warriors, and now he's a superstar over there? What the hell?
Yeah, he's playing well for the Warriors. Obviously, he wanted to get a little more playing time in the summer league, because that's, unless you're a first round pick, obviously a lot of these guys are looking for jobs, right? So they want to showcase their talents. And because of the emergence of your boy Scottie Pippen, McClung wasn't getting, a ton of minutes. He was playing behind him, and he wasn't playing a lot. So he wanted to go somewhere where there would be a little more minutes, and the Warriors, have had that opportunity. They didn't really have a point guard per se that they were, high on. Yeah. And he's getting an opportunity to shine, and he's playing well. I mean, I think he's got talent. I just don't know if he's got everyday NBA talent. We saw a little glimpse of it last year in a couple games with us, but also in a couple games with the Bulls. And, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, maybe he'll come around. Maybe he'll be like a Gary Payton and he needs to get cut 5-6 times before he cashes in on that deal and finds his style or niche in the league.
Yeah, I think the key for his game will definitely be to develop that three, because I mean he is pretty small. He's actually his defense has been a little bit better. It seems a little bit more peskier, So he's really just got to take those to another level to, I think, really end up on a roster. So best of luck to him. I like Mac. Been following him since college, and hopefully he finds a spot somewhere. But hey, before we go though, because we're running down on time, get on a video, you just start yapping away, this guy.
Hey man, we're having fun.
But before we go, a couple of shout outs that I wanted to give out. One, my brother, Double A, he's the producer of our show. You may hear some of his music throughout the episodes. He did our intro and our outro music. Today is his birthday, so shout out him. Happy birthday to my brother Aaron.
Oh, happy birthday, baby.
We'll have to get him on soon. Obviously now with the video pods going, we'll get him on soon. Another shout out I wanted to give is to our friend of the show, Frostee Rucker, who he was on our show a few months back. Former pro football player, was on talking some football with us. But he also talked a little bit about his youth camp, his football youth camp. Right now we're in the middle of the summertime hustle camp. And I'm just happy to say that, we got to be a part of that this week. Anthony and I were out there yesterday, and then I'll be out there. I was out there today. I'll be out there tomorrow, just helping out, giving back to the community, teaching the kids about the fundamentals of football, and just leadership and friendship. And, it's just been a great time. I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit on that, Anthony, and your experience out there yesterday.
No, I thought it was great. I mean, I love, obviously, you love people like Frostee that take what they have, not just their talent, but their platform, and really, give back to kids and the community they grew up in. And it was really cool for him to let us come out there yesterday and work with the kids and have a good time and pretend to throw the football around like we used to play quarterback.
You had me running routes out there, and I woke up this morning like so sore. It was ridiculous. I had to load up on the Bengay. Esme came home. She's like, "Why does it smell like Bengay in here?"
I know. We had like an 8-year-old kid ask me, "Do you know how to run a post route?"
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. So it was fun though. It was a great time. I'm having a blast out there. Frostee, thanks so much for having us out. And man, we wish you all the best and all the success in the world. And we look forward to having you back on. We'll have them on this upcoming football season and chat some football. So yeah, and just again, like we said, this is we thought it would be fun to do a video pod for our final episode of the season. So this is episode 60. Can't believe, honestly, we're even here. You know, we started this out for fun, and you know, we're still going. Again, Apple and Spotify have not canceled us yet, so that's great. So this is our last episode of the season. So we're gonna take a few weeks off here. So if you guys don't see us pop up on your feed in Apple Podcasts or Spotify, don't worry. We have not been canceled. We will be back.
Yeah, but don't worry. If that Kyrie deal breaks, we'll be on top of it.
Yeah, might have to find that on the IG, because I will not be. I'm out of here. Oh man,
like Charles Barkley. My vacation begins in 6 minutes.
Gone fishing, man. I'm out of here. But all right, man. You want to wrap us up?
Yeah. Well, again, like I said, we thank you guys for listening. We appreciate the feedback. You know, we're loving all the IG comments and the likes, and we appreciate that. You know, follow us on Twitter. Like Kobe said, you can still get all the audio podcasts on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. So continue to do that, and you'll see a little more of these YouTube videos and different clips and things that we can be throwing up on our YouTube page. So check that out. Make sure you like those, subscribe, and keep listening, and we'll keep bringing good content to you as best we can.
Yeah. And just a side note, the IG is lighting up. I love it. You know, we're not only getting a ton of likes, but we're getting a lot of comments, and I think that that's really important. The fans are engaging on there. You know, we're putting posts out there that you know, people want to talk about, and you know, we talk about some of that stuff here on the pod. You know, so keep commenting, keep liking, grow with us. You know, we're excited to see where this all goes. You know, so
yeah.
Again, thank you all. We appreciate it. You guys have a good night, and remember, check us out on YouTube.
Peace out, everybody.
Peace. Max says peace.